Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining us today with Diverse SecCon. It's the first conference as InfoSec Diversity we are hosting, and we wanted to have everyone to join us. And thank you for being part of it. Thank you for sharing all the details. And special thanks to our keynote speaker from Dr. Reem to Anand to Lydia to Bryson Board, everyone. And thanks to our speakers as well for being part of the first edition. And we are hoping that we'll have many more. The intent behind this was to make sure that we involve students, we involved veterans, we involved people who want to speak for the first time and they have a platform to speak. So this is where we are coming up with our first edition of Diverse SecCon. And there's so much more that you'll see in 2 days. You can check out the agenda on the InfoSec Diversity page. And let me bring Shivani as well to the stream and let her say more things about it. Shivani, over to you before we start our very amazing keynote with Dr. Reem.
Yes, Vanna, thank you for having me on the stage here. It has been a wonderful experience from planning DiverseCon, from the ideation stage to the now when we are live over here. It's a feeling of immense pleasure. And on the same side, when I'm very excited, I'm nervous too because I really keeping my finger crossed that everything should go as planned and everything goes smoothly. We have great line of speakers. Our keynote speakers have excellent command on their field, and they have been in their industry for such a long time. I hope everyone is benefited from this conference, and we can run this show over and over again, years to follow. So we will start with our first keynote speaker today. Varna, I would like you to introduce our first keynote speaker.
Sure. Thank you so much, Shivani. And everyone, do tune into our YouTube channel where all the talks would be live for our keynote speakers, especially right now, which I'm just going to bring in now. Hi, Dr. Reem. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, Vandana and Shivani. It's a true privilege and pleasure to join you in today's InfoSec Diversity Conference for 2021. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you so much. Now, let me go ahead and introduce Dr. Reem. So, everyone, Dr. Reem is a global thought leader in cybersecurity and digital transformation space with more than 2 decades of experience, who had led significant changes to the maturity of cybersecurity and technology in the energy sector, which is closely linked to Kuwait's national cybersecurity posture and digital oil fields transformation journey. She is a passionate leader whose valuable contribution to cybersecurity and technology is recognized at national, regional, and international levels. She's a founding member and a board member of Women in Cybersecurity Middle East, which is called as WISME, which has over 1,000 plus members across the region. Having a member of academic and professional degrees such as engineering, MBA, PhD, and Harvard Business School's executive program, which helps her bring a balance of technical and management skills to her current leadership. Dr. Reem represents her country in a number of regional and global programs and forums, and is recognized as an innovator and a wild card who continues to push the envelope to get the most optimum outcome on an initiative or a project. Thank you so much, Dr. Reem, for joining us today. You've been a role model for many, and you are a true inspiration to a number of young women to strive for more. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vandana, for this amazing introduction. And we're all here trying to give and contribute to our community to make it a better place for our coming generations. So thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. I was saying, is that me? So thank you so much for reminding me of all of that. And it's a journey that will be all together contributing and working together in this mission. So it's really a pleasure to be here today with you.
Thank you so much. So, for everyone, today we are going to talk about human side of infosec, which is something which we have been hearing about or which we want to know more about. So there are things that we're going to be speaking about from Dr. Reem's experience. The first thing being what exactly the modern day organization well-being is, which is dependent on information. Human, organizational, and technological components all play a very key initiative role or integrative role in information security. And today we will speak about that. So, the very first thing that we want to speak about to you, Dr. Reem, is your experience in information security.
Excellent. So we will take that journey on how that diversity of, let's say, and inclusion when we talk about information security, and also when we talk about that journey, how it can really incorporate such empowerment. I have been starting more than 20 years of experience. I hope that doesn't make me look too old in the information security and technology, where we have been working in vast initiatives and projects of the digital oil fields. And when that automation of oil fields has started, that responsibility towards securing these projects from being manual, now automating them and digitalizing them, the concern of securing them became a very much, let's say, concern towards us, and we became advocates to secure all these digital transformations. So from even before becoming a CISO, in my earlier responsibility, or joining the information security as a business leader of these digital oil fields projects, that was a responsibility being embedded to secure these digital initiatives. And because we all know that information security has become today a pillar and enabler in all of that business, and without considering them, then these business can look into a huge risk or impact, which can even impact the people's safety and lives when we talk about OT environment. From there, my journey of cybersecurity has become where I became an advocate before joining the information security, then gradually being involved in different IT projects, as you have mentioned, that becoming a wild card or a push, an envelope pusher, where that vast let's say knowledge in all different IT projects were coming from the web design, corporate solutions, network, mobility, and all of that has given me the vast knowledge in order for me to understand the business very thoroughly, as I have been involved in all of these projects, leading, managing, and implementing. So it was like a journey that this career has introduced me and prepared me for the role of being the CISO, where I have played during the last 5 years a very change agent role, where we have shifted and introduced a maturity enhancement toward the cybersecurity posture in our oil sector as well within our company. And that came all from the understanding of the whole IT and the business itself. So what I'm trying here to say that the knowledge of understanding the business, and then the inner responsibility of trying to secure it and protect it, being the defenders and enablers at the same time, is really what enhance even the diverse roles that we're playing within our cybersecurity. Of course, when with doing all of that, knowledge should be coming and learning shall be there. So what we have been doing throughout that, I was equipping myself, and from this personal and good reflection, I highly encourage all of us to continue learning, where I have equipping myself with the management, understanding, and concepts, as I have took my MBA, then did my operation management PhD, and recently concluded my Harvard Business and Good Executive Management education, and always kept wearing that Harvard bracelet every day to remind myself that whenever I am being pushed into the business, I need to remember the learning that I had it in Harvard and deploy it into the real world, as we're saying. So having that done, the other thing that came in parallel, which my passion also goes in, empowering the women in cyber. And that's where my role in being a founding partner in our Women Cybersecurity Middle East group, where you have mentioned that we have more than 113, sorry, 1,300 members of women and young rising stars in high schools up to executives in the Middle East, whether they are resident or even Middle Eastern ladies who love the cybersecurity, whether as a career or a passion or even an interest. So we have been empowering our women in that community. And of course, we're now at the countdown of our conference coming, as well as our awards and our Capture the Flag competition in 29th and 30th November, and the CTF will be on 25th and 26th of November. So having that passion or having that role of being a founding member in CTF, and sorry, in WIXME, and leading the being a co-chair of that conference that keeps coming back with wonderful stories within it, is really that makes us feeling the passion, make us re-engineer, recharge, to be able to give, to inspire, hopefully, and to motivate our ladies to join us in this field in order to help our male allies and work together, complementing each other in closing the gap. So that's in short my journey when it comes to the community and when it comes to the career itself. You're on mute, Vandana. Your mute was the most trending.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reem. So, your journey has inspired me and many others. So, I just want to mention that while we talk about the young women who are actually taking so much knowledge from you, so we want to know more about WISME, which you started with many other, and you actually put in the seed for that, and which has grown so big now. So I will let you speak more about it, and we want to personally know more about it.
WixMe is something that my eyes will always, have that glitter in it and shine when it comes. I feel like it's. I won't say my baby because we have so many babies around us, and however, I believe it's a mission. I would see it as a life mission where we're doing something just purely voluntary basis. There's neither at all any agendas behind that. There's no promotion, nothing. We are investing our time, our efforts, our passion to lay the ground for our women in the Middle East culture to join the cybersecurity community, to be motivated to stand up and to be a partner and an ally with our male allies in confronting the cyber threats, and of course in being able to close the shortage and the gap that's being seen in our industry. So from there, 8 women back in 2018, we have met in April in Dubai, and we were discussing that we need to have something that really unify our women, gather them, give them like a safe place or a safe field for them to thought, to share their worries, to have some role models to look up to. We do have everywhere and around the globe, but to add the flavor of the Middle East, then they will very much relate, because sometimes when we see global role models, other ladies will say, no, they have different environment, they have different circumstances, they have different culture. They, of course, they will succeed because of that. So what we have seen that we need to create that Middle Eastern, forum where these ladies will relate. We coming from the same background, coming from the same culture, and yet they have succeeded. That they have become, role models. They have become trailblazers, and from that passion to do so, these 8 ladies has worked very closely together, and the history will be found there in the www.womeninscybersecurity.me. We have closed together, and then we have started creating our forum, and through different platforms, where the membership is for free till date, and we believe that being an NGO is actually helping other ladies to contribute, to be empowered, to be monitored and guided. So from that, with 8 ladies in 2018. We're now more than 1,000, I believe, reaching up 500 members of, as I said, different backgrounds, different cultures, different ages as well. We have high school, and I can say that my youngest can be seen as one of the members in Wixme, which is 9 years old, and she started as Queen of Hackers. And we have the biggest and highest executive roles, CISOs, MDs, and all of that in that one Wixme platform. So Wixme is a gathering of women that is there to be the male allies, to work together, neither to compete, and to being partners in addressing the gaps and working towards securing and protecting our societies. And all of that, Wixme has done various activities throughout the years. Our last Wixme 2020 was a wonderful, success stories. We have 3 stories in that, where we have initiated the CTF, the regional CTF, and also we have initiated for the first time Wixme Awards in the Middle East region, where it was the first pioneering award, where it was dedicated only and by itself for women, because usually there are awards in cybersecurity in the Middle East, but you will find women recognition is only at one category, and others are open. So what we have thought, just to change the culture and bring women out from their, hesitant and shyness zone, we have dedicated all the 6 categories last year, all towards women, where they are being defined as consultant, as thought leader, as executive, as rising stars, as heroes, etc. So they were very much reluctant from, stepping, are we worthy? It was really a change, agent, where we have tried to change that culture, and we ended up with an amazing, amazing success stories from these jewels, as we call them, and gems of the Middle East. And today, in this awards year, we are introducing a 7th category, which is male ally, because we believe that our male allies are one of the success factors of us being here today, still thriving to Wixme success. Another success, and very quickly I'm going to say it, is about the challenge capturing the flag last year, where we have more than 600 participants, and 50% of these participants were females, and that was very much encouraging, because we have injected a criteria of eligibility where we requested each team, in order for it to be eligible, to at least have one female member in their team. So we have enforced having females, not just for the sake of enforcement, but to let the females being more involved in such areas where it's always male dominant in CTF arenas and all of that. So we were so thrilled to see the statistics showing us that 50% of these 600 players were females, and many of them were leading these teams. So it was a great success stories, especially in the CTF area and especially in our Middle East. And concluding that with our conference program, where we have collected more than 50 speakers from all over the globe under the theme of being able to secure and protect together with the sisterhood call. So again, another initiative where we have unified all the women from around the globe to reach their voices, to showcase their knowledge and expertise, which was amazing, and also for the young voices to show and present. So we have shown all of that from all over the globe through the Wixme platform, and we're doing all of that again one time more in the 2021 and end of November, inshallah.
This is totally incredible, Dr. Reem.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I also completely agree with the male ally thing that you have mentioned, and all the sectors that you have designated for all the females, and that really gives us an edge, and to get out of that imposter syndrome that I am worthy. I really like that part.
Yes.
And
Shivani, this syndrome is giving us hard time, especially
yes.
in the awards. My God, yeah, let me just give you a very quick story. We were trying, for the first time when we introduced the awards, we were trying pulling the ladies just to nominate themselves. They say, no, are we worthy enough? And when you see their stories, my God, they were superheroes. You know, the Marvel hero movies, the Marvel heroes, we have
Yes.
seen stories that really shows superheroes in cybersecurity. One of the amazing stories was she was so committed, so passionate about cybersecurity, and she was in her labor, and she was about to submit her CISP exam. She studied a lot, and then labor came. Being a mom, that's not controllable.
Yeah.
But her story, and that was documented and evidence, that she stayed in the labor room submitting her CISP exam, the answers, and telling the doctor to give her just a little bit more time until she submits all the exam questions, and then she goes to labor to deliver a new life, a new baby. Can you believe that? And amazingly, she passed the CISP exam after submitting her question to that exam online. Then she went to the labor room and she delivered a new baby. I don't think we can see, we can even ignore such potentials, such passion, such commitment. And with all of that, they still believe themselves, are we worthy enough? Can we really go ahead and nominate? There are many people much better than us. So this syndrome is really, killing the role models being seen and being felt. And that's why we try always to push to, showcase all of that through even our WXME appreciation program. Wherever there's a scene, an achievement, we promote it very, strongly, because we know that there are so many ladies like that lady behind the scenes who are a little bit shy as a culture, as some with the women, to be a little bit reluctant to stand out and to show her case. So I think this is a global maybe issue, but we're doing our best to change the culture within our Middle East, with the support of male allies and with the support of the government and with the support of all of that. Our women this year has become more brave, thank God. The numbers are increasing, and the male allies, although it was the first time we have introduced it, but the numbers is really amazing for those who are introducing themselves. And when we compare male allies, nomination with the females, we can see that the males are more braver, more courage to stand up and say, I am worthy enough to be nominated. And when we see the ladies, where we're really, Shivana, pushing them and pulling them, please, you're doing amazing job. You are worthy to nominate or self-nominate, or others to nominate you as well. So I believe this is something that all of us is facing in our cultures. But we, as change agents, if I call myself and my colleagues as well, we will be able to, with our commitment and focus, to do that change. Hopefully, will do that impact, inshallah.
Yes, absolutely. And like as business leaders, we have a lot of responsibility of taking such kind of actions and maintaining such programs and initiatives so that people feel worthy, belonged. Because usually humans tend to be a part of groups where they feel that I belong there, so they want to connect there. So there's a question up here where, as a business leader, like how do you, as a business leader, ensure that diversity and inclusion is being adhered to in the organization? So there's a question that came up.
Amazing. So a very good and very valuable question. So I always believed, Shivana and Vandana, that we need to walk the talk. It's always good to have these strategies, to have these visions, but what really matters is that we take them into action. So as a leader, and now recently I've been also assigned to head the gender PMO of our diversity and inclusion council in the Kuwait oil sector. So I'm now putting the two hats, or actually I have three hats, where I'm supporting our WXME, Women Cybersecurity, then supporting our women in the oil sector, and then leading the digital transformation with that CISO mindset as well. So how do I do that as a leader? We, of course, encourage our women presence in the teams. We provide flexibility in these responsibilities, and of course give the mentorship. And mentorship is very crucial. Provide sponsorship as well. Let me give you just some personal stories when in my team, when I led that cybersecurity in my company. So one of the ladies was very much shy. but she is a gem. I call her always her nickname in my team. I give nicknames in my team, by the way, and her nickname was Diamond because from not non-security background. And by the way, many of our cybersecurity heroes today we see them. They come from non-security backgrounds, and because they loved that mission and vision, to secure, they go and do the necessary learning and they become pioneers. So she did that, and within I believe 6 months, she mastered the threat intelligence area and knowledge. But still, she had that shyness and being an introvert. The leader needs now to look at that potential and see how they can swiftly move that a woman introvert into a more proactive role because of the area where they play. So as a leader, I have utilized my coaching skills to get her out from that comfort zone, and gradually, and sometimes I'm becoming very broadly putting her in the front and center when we do some let's say leading briefings and all of that, recognizing her, giving her responsibilities. And my God, from that introvert she become amazing extrovert. She showed amazing and diverse knowledge and capabilities in different areas of my team, not only in threat intelligence. She even captured also the governance, the awareness programs as well. And today she is a very amazing certified coach to lead others to go out from their fear zone or comfort zone and to break out and do their go after their dreams. And she always give the example of that experience with me and her team and our team, and she always relate to that and tell them that this has happened to me, it can happen to you as well if you really have the courage and faith in you. So as leadership, we mentor, we coach, we provide flexibility as long as we're aligning with the policies of our corporate and our business. We also promote diversity in through different channels and recognize that. We need always to recognize, and we have various ways of recognition. And also we can mention that quotas can be, if not abused, can be a very interesting tool. In a recent panel session, which I have led about diversity and inclusion in the World Economic Forum under the Cyber Resilience Program, I was surprised and thrilled to see the high number of women diversity in these teams of cybersecurity. Some of the team leaders told me that they have 50-50 males versus females. Some of them told me 40 to 60, 40 females to 60, which is still a good percentage when we look at the broader percentage around the world. So I believe the awareness among leadership level, and these panel session was at the leadership level of these cybersecurity executives and leaders. I believe such awareness is there. They do realize that we need such diversity and inclusion in our field, specifically in cybersecurity, and such support is being there. And as you have said, Shivana, and we need again leadership to create that safe place where they really can relate and work very closely. And one of my colleagues there in that panel session, she shared a story where they really have created a community for women in the cyber in their companies in order for them to reflect, to share stories, to share knowledge and all of that. And it's good to have a general forum, but sometimes, and my team used to always tease me about that, how come, doctor, you have women cybersecurity group? Why not for everyone? So I was always telling them, I never stopped you from having male in cybersecurity Middle East group. What we're trying to do here in women cybersecurity, because as we have seen and sensed, women always hesitate. They need a safe place, and they will always be, a little bit hesitant to open when there's, in front of audience. But when they see women group seen as a tribe, as some of the ladies has called it, this is my tribe, they will feel very much related. They will resonate to each other. They will feel each other more closely. And we'll always have our male allies there. We'll always have them as our mentors, our sponsors, our let's say even partners in all of our visions and our projects. But having that special forum of women is very, very useful, very healthy, where we'll be always see يعني they can share their thoughts without any worrying, any hesitancy. And there and that these groups, we always have the Chatham rule, where whatever being said there is governed by the Chatham rules and stays there, and thus trust is there among us. And I believe we always relate to each other because we have almost the same mindset, we have the same circumstances, culture, and all of that. So yes, leadership can also promote such diversity, such inclusion, by creating and supporting such forums and make them, give them all the sponsorship, give them all the empowerment to be there to, and I have seen that actually by different entities from my knowledge as well.
Yeah, totally incredible, Dr. Reem. And this is actually a lot of human side of InfoSec. And now,
Yes.
while we speak about human side of InfoSec, it's actually one field which is ever changing. Like, it's a diverse field in altogether, and there are so many faces in it. There are so many fields in it. Now, when it's changing, there are two aspects. One is from people side, and one is from leadership side. So we want to also know about the people side of it, how much it is important, especially for the people who are ground people, or maybe till middle management or middle leadership level. So how
Yes.
exactly it is important for them, and how much this keeps the cords intact.
Very, very important. So we looked at the leadership, we give them the enough focus and how they can really promote that human side of that. When we go back to our warriors, I always call them cyber warriors or cyber knights, those defenders who are very much passionate to give above and beyond. They need from their side, from a human side aspect, to realize that being in cybersecurity means a continuous learning journey. يعني there's no way at any time a person in cybersecurity field can say that that's it, I'm mastering this area and I'm ruling it. Because in cybersecurity, the moment we have that concept, that approach being deployed, then there might be some threat actors that compromise that, let's say approach or that concept or even that tool or let's say with controls. And then you need to look up and keep going into that R&D, research and technology, and again introducing another more advanced tools to protect all of that. So it's a continuous update, journey of implementing, learning, and keeping up with the updates. So for those people, you need to be aware of that. Don't get frustrated because you thought you're mastering that and now a new technology is coming. It's keeping us in action. And one of the memes that really made me laugh just last week ago, that they showed Yoda for Star Wars. My kids love Star Wars. So they showed Yoda in the cybersecurity at the first year. He looks like normal Yoda. Then within I think 5 years, he looks a little bit older. Then within 20 years, he looks horrible. And I was saying, come on, guys, because I saw that 20 years and I related to myself and was, don't look that old and that crumpy. But yes, the pressure on cybersecurity does consume a lot. Many of us during COVID-19 duration, many of the other fields has gone out or become very much idle. In cybersecurity, we're like peaking. We never had one day off because during the COVID-19, we were pushed to expedite the digital transformations and thus expediting securing these new parameters being defined and all of that. So where everyone being, total block out and nobody, working and all of that, cybersecurity people were working around the clock to ensure that all these introduced new parameters are being secured, being guarded well. And I believe this is the way in cybersecurity. We don't have a day off. But we need to be very much aware of that, and we need to know that whenever we are closing of that burnout stage, we need to be very much aware of that, and just do the proper handover, go back, or take a step back, and take go on vacation, go on leave, and disconnect. One of my dear friends and colleagues, Cezos, we just had an earlier discussion, and she was telling me that in her vacation, me and her were in the both countries, and she was thinking of reaching out during her vacation. Then she decided to focus on her vacation. I told her I would love seeing you in that travel or in that visit, but I would love more to see you disconnecting and just focus on being on your vacation, because we're in cybersecurity. We really need to disconnect. We really need to recharge. We really need to have all of that energy, because being in cyber consumes us a lot, and all of us need to be aware of that. It does consume us a lot, especially for those passionate people who keeps following up, keeps taking concerning and having the worries day and night of what's next, and how we can really improve, and how we can really secure better, how we can really empower here and there. So you need to be very much aware of that. You need to have self-care and this human side of it. You need also to be aware of the pressure, and let's not overwhelm ourselves about balance. This is my own perspective. There's no really 50-50 balance when we talk about work and life, which was for me a killer as I was trying my best to do that perfect balance. Then a very insightful discussion like this discussion with women executive leaders told me that the word balance is really consuming us to go with that perfection. But if we look at it as integration, and that was the magical word that gave me the sense of relief, and the self guilt was stopped at that moment I heard of that integration. There should be an integration, a healthy integration between work and life, where there will be moments you need to be fully present in your social life and be there when they need you, and you need to be also fully present in your career moments when you need to be fully there. And among these intervals, you'll be here and there with your attention and your focus being given. So let's not overwhelm ourselves of having the perfect balance. Let's look at it as a musical note where there's ups and downs, but be sure that when it's needed, you're there fully present when it comes to family, when it comes to work, whenever there's that moments come up. And meanwhile, you maintain that presence and focus giving there. So that's the third thing. The last thing I would say, trust. Because in our cybersecurity for theirs follows and there's members, they need to be very much transparent with each other. They need to trust each other and to have each other's back, especially when we talk about the good side, because they are already doing it on the other side. When we talk about adversaries, they're very much protective, very much collaborative, and all of that. So we need to also build that circle of trust among us as when we focus on the human side. It's not just about focusing on your daily operation. No, build that trust with your business, build that trust with your operations, build that trust with your as well as the business owners, the legal, the regulators as well. When you build that trust, you build your allies, and thus have a very more ecosystem collaborated all together, where you will be able to work collectively to reach your goals easily instead of having it as your own, because we're on a journey. And I will never recommend that you go by yourself. You need to go it as a group, as an ecosystem, and that can be only done through this trust. I hope this makes sense.
No, absolutely.
Right.
Actually, you have also covered up a very important concept of burnout also. That
Yes.
you mentioned, like we have to trust, we have to do self-care, we need not push ourselves a lot, because the imposter syndrome, when I go back, we talk about that actually give us a lot of burnout. So
Yes.
because we think that we are not ready for it, and maybe we will be ready for it, and we are not sure of it. and in turn we would be exercising our brains and body towards it more, and it eventually leads to a lot of burnout. So
Yeah.
I think to overcome that part, we need that community, we need that safe place that you have mentioned. And I and if there is anything else that we can do as a leader for our team, like to prevent that burnout, so what steps can be taken in that front?
Okay. So about the burnout and uh, being aware is half the problem. Okay, so in order for us to solve that burnout, issue, we need to be aware, as I have said. And number two, we need to put rules. And I know that sometimes me saying that I have difficulty in following these rules because of my, endless passion in this field, and I will just break any rule just to continue giving and all of that. But it takes me always to the burnout zone every time. So I have done my lessons, or I have done my time of learning, and I said, okay, let me try to put rules where we at least dedicate some days where we should not, at least as a leadership or as a team, communicate in anything related to work when it comes, let's say, Fridays and Saturdays is our weekend. So we say, okay, Friday, no messages, no communication unless it's an incident or an emergency, then yes. Then other than that, nothing. This should be a dedicated, family time and all of that. This comes from the leadership itself, because if we keep telling them you need to take care of yourself, etc., and we keep, bothering them even during the weekend, then we're really not walking the talk. Okay, so we need to take the acts and tell them, okay, if it's urgent, then fine. Then if it's not, we can always keep it to Saturday, or even Sunday is even better because we start our work on Sunday. But knowing our work, we work highly at even Saturdays sometimes. So having that said, we need also to put some controls and always measure ourselves. How many Fridays did we work? Was that like a KPI, internal KPI? Was that really justifiable, or we just didn't couldn't kill that habit? And this will only come with the leader and the team members collaborating together. If the leader starts putting these rules and the team members cannot really go out to that and still keep uh, trying to get themselves into the burnout, then it's a lost war. So there should be full collaboration into following these controls, and try as much as we can to define these, framework where we love our passion, execute, and all the tools that we utilize it to exert that love and to express the investment of knowledge without impacting our self-care, our health, and of course our beloved ones, and the other side, which is our life and social life as well. Very quickly, Shivana, I think recently many of us have seen the New Zealand, the Prime Minister, where she was doing a live, broadcast of Facebook, and she was interrupted by her 3 years year old, daughter, coming from her bed and says, "Mom, why are you still there? I'm waiting for you to come to me." This happens, and because she's very much passionate leader, and she still takes time to go and send messages and visions and all of that on Facebook and from her home. But there's a balance, and that's the moments I told you about, Shivani, when we said there's moments and we need to be present. She did interrupt her live Facebook, and she was talking live to her daughter, recognizing her, accepting that she's there, because we're women, we're mothers, we're sisters, we do have a life, we're not robots, and we cannot really segregate these roles. And with what we have and with this multitasking is really what makes us special, is really what makes us the addition, or the benefits of being diversified members, is that you in your membership or in your team, you have this capabilities of women that can do this magic of multitasking. And with that being recognized, she appreciated that, and she tried her best for her daughter, but her daughter becoming a stubborn. And by the way, being stubborn is one of the leadership traits, I believe. So she decided to kill off the live broadcast, and she said, I will be back, but I'm sorry, as I have really to go and tuck my girl to bed. This is normal, and us as leaders should be recognizing that. We should not be upset when our member says, I cannot work during this work, I'm at home and I'm very much focused with my family. We should not be upset at that unless it's an incident. If it's an incident, all of us will be there on site at the security operations center, trying to analyze and do the necessary incident response. Other than that, then let them have their family, let them have their time out, let them recharge, because eventually you as a leader, when they recharge, when they disconnect, they come to you the second day being very much ready to give, contribute, and pursue their mission in securing your environment and partnering with the business. Cybersecurity is a very, very challenging field. It requires warriors to be there and to stay there. And for us as leaders, as sponsors, as partners, and let's say advocates, we need always to be aware of such requirements and always promote and motivate the leadership to look into these sides of InfoSec, a human side of InfoSec, in order for them to focus on that and to address it, rather than only focusing on the KPIs, on the numbers, on the financial numbers, or even the KPIs of closing these incidents of vulnerability patches, etc. We need to focus on the human factor, because they are the true asset behind all of these achievements. And with that such investment of focusing, then these achievements will be there sustained and retained as well.
Absolutely, Dr. Reem. I actually like the part where you mentioned, like, we women are not robots. We are doing multitasking, and we have to be everywhere and we have to do everything. So I
It's
think
magic.
that
It's magic. I
it's
call it the multitasking
yes,
magic.
yes. So in a way, we can do everything all together. I really love that part of that. So we have, I think, one last question. Like, what suggestions do you have for small teams working with large enterprise recruiting processes that might not be delivering the resume they desire? Okay.
Okay. I,
This
I'm not getting really his question. So,
yes.
So
He
actually,
says
they
like
want to understand. Go ahead, Shivani.
mhm. Yeah, so they want to say, like, so smaller organizations are giving resumes to the larger organizations, and they might not be delivering the resumes they desire. So what are the suggestions for the small enterprises, like how they can deliver the best? I think I framed the question right.
okay. So we're talking about smaller teams that provide job opportunities for bigger enterprises,
Yes, yes,
and there's some gap in delivering the right resumes or capabilities.
right, right.
Okay. So there has been a lot of discussion, and your question is very good question, because we have long and endless discussions of how we can really get the good talents in our cybersecurity. Will certification be sufficient, or hands-on will be sufficient? And of course, you need to look at the bureaucracy of, no, you need to follow the bureaucratic process, especially if you are big organizations. So I believe that similar to us and many other industries, they work as process-based organization, where they really need to follow the process of recruitment. So for us as Ngul cybersecurity, and to attain to such challenges in getting the right talents, I believe interviews can be also done. And of course, we can run some tests and hands-on tests to verify these technical skills, because sometimes you find capabilities with PhD there, but yet the human skills attitude is lacking, which really kills the whole chemistry of the team. So adding a new member to your team doesn't only look or focus on the skills of, technical skills. It's also focuses on the human side skills, being a team member, being a player, being a supporter, having everyone's back. One of the, let's say, good experiences that I have faced, that there was so much SMEs, subject matter experts, and they have very vast knowledge for me to acquire. But the only risk that I really have considered it, and that's why I couldn't hire them, is that the behavior part, because with many have such vast knowledge, sometimes the team member attitude or the teamwork behavior is lacking. And when you run a very agile and resilient team where they look at themselves as one unity family, adding a new member with such, let's say, profile would kill that equation. So sometimes we have to sacrifice these SMEs for the sake of maintaining the synergy and harmony of that field, because even though we don't have that SME, but the output that this team is be giving is even sometimes 200% of their productivity, just because they are believing in the mission. They have the great synergy and harmony within them as one family. And I have seen that in my experience with my golden team in KOC, where they were relatively small, but their achievements were going above and beyond because believing in that mission and because of that synergy. So when we do recruitment, I believe highly for these resumes to be delivered, you can inject different types of measuring and validating these skills through interviews, through some test hands-on tests through طبعا platforms, and of course do some checks on the behaviors, attitudes, and all of that when you interview them, to ensure that they are team players and you're getting the right equation or the right addition to your already synergized and balanced team members formula that you have it there, and you really do not want to disrupt them because they are doing very excessive work, and what you need to add is someone to help them and to assist them rather than disrupting them. So it's very tricky to recruit new ones, but with you having the right criteria and with the right thorough measurement and validation, then you'll be able to help and assist and do the right objective from adding these recruited skills.
Totally agree with you, Dr. Reem. And it is so important to have a human touch, even with a resume, which is very well articulated. Because if we don't have that human touch, we will always see that there are some things going here and there, and we are not hiring the right talent, or the right talent is not getting the opportunity. Like the research
Yes.
have said that we, as especially diverse candidates, we don't tend to fill out the jobs if they are not 100% match. The research
Yeah.
has shown it. But if we make
It's
it more of a human touch, we tend to feel, okay, this is something which we can give it a try. Even if it's 50% match, 60% match, but we are going to try that.
exactly. And you know what, Vandana, when we do this agile and a practical way, you will end up with amazing results. You'll find potentials in these approaches rather than just sticking to the, no, he needs to be a CIS certified, he needs to be a bachelor degree. There are so many diplomas that have amazing potentials. Even 14 years old now, younger generations are amazing in cybersecurity. So we should not never, look at the bureaucratic old process, and we should now reflect the new, like you said, agile, practical approaches to hunt, attract these young potentials and talents, and recruit them properly to help us in our vision and mission.
Yeah, totally agree with you. And this is a conversation which is always needed, and this is a conversation which is needed to be there at every forum, because human side of infosec is very very important, and even human side of IT, wherein we trust, we have a life balance, work life balance. People say though there is nothing work life balance exist, but it does exist. Like you mentioned that on a live webinar, kid is showing up, which is a new normal. Now we all accept that yes, these are the things that will be there, and that makes us who we are.
Yes, yes.
So
Instead of
I
the word
do,
balance,
yeah.
switch it with integration. life and work integration. Because in your back mind you will say balance then means equal 50-50, and in the real time we will not be able, at least from me as a perfectionist, I was looking for 50-50, not 49.9. No, I'm looking at 50-50. So that balance was killing me. But when I started looking at a different perspective as integration, then it made it a little bit easier on myself to address and be able to do.
Absolutely, totally agree with you. And this 50-50 balance is just in our head that we want to be 10 on 10 on everything.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Dr. Reem, we do not want to conclude, but then we want to know any parting words from you, which people should actually keep in mind or keep it with them, so that while they are growing in this cybersecurity journey.
So let me give some quick takeaways to our cybersecurity professionals, colleagues, leaders, and even young rising stars. Uh, Being in cybersecurity is a mission that really doesn't look at only a job. You're securing our digital world. You're securing our societies. So those who are passionate will always thrive, but you need always to be, you know, have that gearbox and toolbox or toolkit with you in order for you whenever you face a challenge, which is you will be facing a lot, especially in cybersecurity. You will have that gearbox next to you, and you can take the right, a gear and just fix that issue and even overcome it or face it. So my takeaways is first to take this cybersecurity as a continuous journey of learning. Never stop learning. Never stop. We keep learning, and not only from Harvard or institutes or even online courses. We learn from listening to each other actively. So please always listen actively, especially to your business users, especially to your colleagues in the IT, to your business owners, to your regulators, legal partners. Listen actively, strategists. Listen actively to them, and when you listen actively to them, listen not to reply back or with sometimes we listen actively to prepare ourselves to defend back, to reply back, especially in cybersecurity. We always find ourselves being forced to defend ourselves back. But when I went to Harvard, they gave me a very good new perspective, is listening actively to understand more rather than to prepare ourselves to reply. So from that day, whenever a user or business owner sits with me and he starts, sometimes giving us very, let's say, aggressive feedback, I listen very carefully, not to defend ourselves, no, at all. I listen carefully to understand where it is coming from. And when I ask and I reply back, I ask to understand more, to clarify mine. So my replies always not to defend. My replies always comes with more understanding, more questions to knowing what is really the issue here. And with that mindset, you will always come to resolving the matter. So listen carefully and actively, not to reply back, but to understand more. Always learn. Number three, and of course, most importantly, self care of yourself, because you are in a very, very challenging, consuming field, but it's amazing. It's wonderful. يعني, it's something that we enjoy. So just be aware to take very good care of yourself, and eventually believe in yourself. Okay, and have that inner believe in yourself that you are one نقول limited edition of yourself. Be very much fully aware of your potentials. Touch on your tribe, your forums, your people. Learn from them. Reach out to your mentors. Reach out. Have a mentor if you don't. If you do, always reach out to them, because they will give you the knowledge of 10 years in one session or two, where you will capture it and utilize it in your journey. So hopefully these takeaways will be kept with our warriors, defenders, enablers in our cybersecurity for them to thrive in their journey.
Absolutely, Dr. Reem. It's such valuable advice. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable time and wonderful advice and inputs to us. It's always a pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you so much, Vandana, for this wonderful opportunity. And again, time flies away very quickly when we start discussing and reflecting. And this just shows the true joy that we have. It comes from our hearts to our audience's hearts. Hopefully, it's genuine. Hopefully, it's clear, it's direct, and hopefully, it will remain with them and resonate for a long time from now. Thank you so much,
Uh,
Vandana, for this. And thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much for
much.
your wonderful efforts in our community. You're a trailblazer and a rock star in that. So you're a wonderful role model for many. Thank you, dear.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reem. It's such a pleasure to have you with us. And it's always, always amazing. And I'm sure that we will meet soon again in person, I would say.
Inshallah. Hopefully, we'll meet soon in person and it will be a wonderful time to see. So thank you so much, Vandana. And thank you, Infosec Diversity, for this wonderful opportunity to keynote. And I hope we did our mission successfully, inshallah.